Good morning, and we are live. Today's show is going to be similar to the last show. I'm going to start with a statement, um, and then we're going to go to a predominantly roundtable discussion for the remainder of the show. So fill your cups, grab a pen and paper, get your questions ready. Let's do this. Good morning, America. I imagine you're feeling a little different today than you were during our last show. I'm sure the grieving process has started to come to an end, and now you're more pissed than anything. And I think it's a good time to go ahead and dig into it. Let's do the postmortem. There's a lot of really bad takes starting to circulate already, and I want to get ahead of that. I want to stomp them into the ground. Let's just talk about it. Let's talk about it. I want to read you something from Scientific American. And what breaks, let me stop. I got a ton of emails from people, older folks that are part of our community. They're in the live chat right now, that are terrified. And they're terrified because of something I said that look, folks, I forget. I do. I forget that not everybody that's in the audience right now has been in the audience from day one. I forget that there's people out there that don't know when I talk about Mike Lee and the things that the Republicans have said and what they've talked about. I forget. Not everybody knows the specifics and details of that. So I said something that terrified the shit out of people that shouldn't really be scared right now. I said Social Security and Medicare are going away. That is true. That is 100% true. If you are on Social Security and Medicare today, you're okay. You're okay. You're going to be okay. I am not very fond of saying that right now, but you are okay. With 90% certainty. Every proposal the Republicans put forward to end Social Security and Medicare, they intentionally phased it out for me. See, I'm not on Social Security and Medicare yet. I'm not there. I am at the cusp. I'm Gen X. I'm not a boomer. I know I look old but when all you see is my beard and stuff, I look older than I am. If I take it off, people realize, oh, hell. And if I shave my beard off, I look like I'm actually in my early 40s. I am not. I'm older than that, much older than that. But my preferred appearance, I do. I look older than I am. I am not on Social Security and Medicare yet. Folks that are on Social Security and Medicare, the proposals the Republicans have put forward today ends it for me and everyone after. They don't end it for you. Now, the reason I say 90% certainty is, again, love a history book, love facts, love to talk about what's been actually proposed. I am going to tell you with 100% certainty the elections are over, and that's one of the bad takes that I want to get to. The last election was the last free and fair election. Republicans don't need your vote anymore, old people. They don't. So is there a minute possibility they could get, just be bizarrely over the top and go after the people that are on Social Security right now? Small fraction of a possibility. But for the most part, no. That has not been, so look, honesty, just straightforward, telling you the way it is. If you're on Social Security now, if you're on Medicare now, 90% certainty you're going to be okay. You are. It's Gen X that we voted to take our own crap away. And let's do it. Let's dig into the postmortems, because I'm hearing some really stupid takes and some really dumb things. And one of the takes is we Democrats need to get our shit together for the next election and stop being us, and our ideas need to change. We need to be more like the Republicans because the Republicans won. Okay, first of all, no, that's not why we lost the election in the first place. And second of all, I need you to get real for a minute, and I need you to understand this. It wasn't hyperbole when I told you the last election would be the last election. These Republicans have no fealty to the Constitution. They want power, period. There will be no 4 years from now. This fight is no longer about democracy. It's no longer about the ballot box. It's not. I realize we're a generation that for the most part hasn't had to fight for anything. All those rights were there. It's a generation that is mostly dead that did that fighting. That's where the fight is now. It's in the real world. It's in the streets. It's in our offices and homes. That fight is no longer about the ballot box. That's where we are. Think back to the civil rights days. My hero, John Lewis, one of my heroes, greatest heroes, John Lewis, and what he endured. His fight was on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, not in a ballot box. That's where we are, folks. And no, the answer isn't to stop being who you are. Let's tear it apart. Let's get into it. I want to read you something. This is from an article from Scientific American. There are way more articles about this. And we're going to talk for a minute about our failure, how we lost. Let me read this to you. The volume of gray matter or neural cell bodies making up the anterior cingulate cortex, an area that helps detect errors and resolve conflicts, tends to be larger in liberals. That's from an article in Scientific American. So when I tell you, people, you are smarter, you are better, I have to deal with those people on the right, and it sickens me. And that I come to you to have conversations and to recharge. That's not hyperbole. That's real. It's just scientifically proven. But we fail miserably to understand we're not everybody. And they are different. They are different. They are not us. They don't think like us. They don't process like us. They are weaker than us. They're less cerebral. They don't tend to understand basic things. And you know this to be true. We've laughed about this. George Carlin was a comedian. But he was so right about so many things. Think of how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that. That's true, people. That is true. That is a true statement. I'll read it again. Think of how stupid the average person is. Now, I want you to think about that. The average person, and I really need you to be self-aware here. When you're out in the world and you have conversations with people, so often you look at this person and you're like, you're a fucking moron. Yeah, because they are. They are. And Paul, how can you say that? Don't you want to win elections? Don't you want to win? You can't call them stupid. You can't call them garbage. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And win. And I'm going to explain why. Folks, Donald Trump told people, I don't need your vote. And they rewarded him for it. Folks, Donald Trump told people, I should have never left the White House. And they rewarded him for it. Yeah. And you don't understand that, and I get it. I get it. All of the terrible things, I could sit here and just list thing after thing after thing after thing after thing that Donald Trump said that it's just repugnant, just disgusting. And you don't understand. They rewarded him for it. They didn't reward him for the disgusting things he said and did. They rewarded him because he showed strength. And that is the part that we liberals fail to understand about the electorate and democracy. This is a postmortem of not just this election. This is a postmortem of the answer. We have a republic, madam, if you can keep it. Why we failed to keep it? Because we didn't understand. And I tried, folks. I really tried. I did. I told everybody, the Allred campaign. Let's talk about Colin Allred and his loss. When we sat down, the biggest point of disagreement we had was I kept telling them, you can't run as a Republican light. Who would respect that? First of all, who are you appealing to? There is no Republican to be had to vote for you. That person doesn't exist. You're going to bring no Democrat to the polls by being Republican light. So what's the benefit? And I ask you, what electoral benefit did this bring? Who? I mean, if we're going to be honest and we're going to have a postmortem, who did that bring to the polls? I'm not disparaging Colin Allred. I'm telling you, he is a good and decent man. He would have been a great servant of my state. He was the better option. I am talking about the electoral loss. Kamala Harris made the same mistake. I can't tell you how much I got attacked for saying, don't do this. How much I got attacked for when I said no. When Kamala Harris said, yes, I'll put Republicans in my government. No. Folks, the Republicans, and I need to address this right now as we move through this conversation. The Republicans never stopped they never stopped. They never went off of a campaign footing. They didn't. You know, the whole "it's stolen" thing, that worked with them because their minds are different. Their minds are different. That doesn't work with liberals. And I want to address that right now. There's a lot of conspiracy theories going around. The election was stolen, this, that, and the other. Look, I'm going to tell you, if somebody presents me with some evidence, I'll listen. I will. But I will tell you, we don't all vote on the same voting machines. We don't. Those voting machines are somewhat isolated. The numbers are nationwide. Our failure was pretty much, well, if you got out of our liberal areas nationwide, it's really impossible to have a conspiracy to cheat in every district. It just is. That's why we always said our elections are free and fair and safe. They are. And that whole thing of, I admire people trying to rile people up and saying, it was stolen. It doesn't work with liberals. You've got to know who you're talking to and deal in that reality, because what liberals are going to say is, yeah, that election was stolen. Show me. No Republican ever said, show me. And they never would, because that's not how their minds work. Every liberal is going to say, all right, I believe it. I believe it. When you show me the evidence. Because that's how our minds work. That's how our minds work. It's who we are. And that's what I'm telling you, folks. That I am going to preach this message before we go to the roundtable. We have to live in reality. We do. We have to live in reality. Because we're better in reality. Now, one of the other takes, again, I just touched on it a little bit, is that we failed because we stood up for causes that we should have never stood up for. That's your Joe Rogan crowd talking. That's your very middle of the road crowd talking. That's your Gaza people talking. And that's just not true. It's just not true. It's actually counterintuitive. You don't win elections by being weaker on your points. You win elections by being unapologetic, because I have to tell you, folks, your average person isn't you. And I'm going to try desperately to convince you of that. I'm going to try desperately to convince you of that. The average person isn't you. Let me show you a couple of things here. This guy is very weak. He's just an arbitrary MAGA guy. He's nobody in particular. He's very weak. He's fragile. He doesn't have he doesn't have your analytical skills. And all he wants is someone to make him feel safe. And that's why he's very susceptible to the message. Here's another one. This guy is weak. He is weak. This is a very, very weak man you're looking at. You notice how they get like really puffy? A lot of puffery. That is a scared animal's reaction. And we are animals, folks. We are. That is a scared animal's reaction to a situation, to blow up. It is an intelligent, strong person that remains calm and works through situations. This guy, and these are just randos I pulled off the internet. They're not anybody in particular. This guy's weak. Does not have analytical skills. Highly uninformed and very susceptible to the message. Folks, they spent $250 million on ads attacking transgender people. Yeah. They spent let me say that again, $250 million attacking transgender people. One of the smallest segments of our society. Why? Why? You don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to you because your brain is different. ET, always good to have you here, man. I'm hearing so many people saying that there are still some guardrails or that we can start to flip things in the next election while they delude themselves that we're weaker in the overall messaging, lost in messaging. Great point. Great point. And it is. It's silliness to be talking about the next election because that's not where the fight is anymore. That is not the fight we're having anymore. Yeah, no kidding, right? These are not the most attractive people. Let me get back to the point I was making. What appeals to those people is strength. They want you to lie to them. I told Colin Allred, I said, look, man, there is no Republican sitting there trying to say, saying to themselves, hey, that Colin Allred's interesting. I think I need to hear what he has to say. No. They were sitting there holding onto their phone, waiting to be told why they hated Colin Allred. And it didn't have to make sense. And it didn't have to be real. It didn't have to be supported by data. All it had to do was reassure him that, yes, you're afraid, and that's okay, but you're stronger, better, smarter. And since you're one of us, we're going to fix it. We're going to make it all okay. And they stroked him and told him it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. That's the message. That's it for that dumbass. That's it. You're super amazing, even though you're not. You're mediocre and probably less than mediocre. But you're super amazing, and I'm going to fix it. And once that compact is in place, you can say anything to these people. Anything. And it will not matter. And if you don't think it's true, folks, the folks in Jim Jones' cult knew they were drinking poison Kool-Aid. They knew. They knew. You know, they didn't tell the kids, but the cult knew. And we lose sight of that as people. We lose sight of that. We do. We just do. And Joe Biden, God bless him, for doing an amazing job after COVID and his fealty to normalcy, which we desperately needed back after the last Trump disaster. God bless him. But his fealty to normalcy in a time when we were dealing with not normal, that's why we lost. That's why we lost. And it happened over and over and over again. It's not just Joe Biden. Bob Mueller. Do you think Bob Mueller didn't know that Bill Barr completely rewrote his report? Of course he knew. But he upheld norms. And he kept his mouth shut. Because that's what you do. Well, congratulations, Bob. It's gone. It's gone now. The experiment's over. Merrick Garland. Like I said, I stick by my point. When he was first appointed, he was a great choice. He was. He was an appeal to normalcy. It was a little bit of a thumb in the eye to Republicans for denying him a seat on the Supreme Court. He's incredibly middle of the road at a time when the country Democrats desperately needed to say, yes, we are the people that we think we are, when we aren't. Most of us aren't. Most of us are that lower grade of people that is just looking for somebody strong to follow. And that's not just Americans, that's worldwide. Putin uses these attacks globally because he understands this. People follow strength. Russia is a shithole, and his people still follow him. He is not unpopular in Russia. He is not. There's a segment of people like us that have liberal brains and have problem-solving abilities and awareness that don't like Putin. But your average human is not us. And Merrick Garland should have been a short appointment, 2 years max. And then he should have been replaced with a knife fighter. Someone that understood the political landscape, because the Republicans never got off a war footing. Never. The Republicans went to the American people and said, we are intentionally hurting you for our political gain. And they were rewarded for it. Because the last half of that sentence was, because we're smarter and we're better and you're us. And if we just be more like you, everything will be okay. Because, man, you're special. Well, they're not. They're not. They're scared, they're weak, they're frail. That's who they are. This is who they are. This is happening for real, folks. I saw a couple of people in the chat mention it. This is who they are. Your body, my choice forever. Saying that out loud, and it will hurt him not one bit. Young men they're having a problem in local schools. You need to talk to your daughters. You do, to make sure they're okay. Because misogynist little pricks like this guy are all over the place. The weaklings. That's the problem with these people, is once they're in, there's no decency to them. There's no moderating normalcy. You know, they're not like us. Like I keep saying, oh yeah, we'll believe the election's stolen. Show me. Yeah, they never have that cognitive moment. They just, oh, this is what the cult's saying now. Okay, yeah, your body, my choice, and they're cool with it. So yeah, your daughters are taking a lot of abuse right now. And they don't give a shit about their own daughters, their own wives, nothing. All they care about is their own fear. That's it. And they don't even recognize it as fear. They don't. They don't even recognize it as fear. They don't have that cognitive ability to understand those emotions. You know, I was a young, unconfident man once. And when a gay man would hit on me, oh my God, I hated it. It was uncomfortable. And I reacted poorly to it. Screw you, man. You think I'm gay? That was terrifying. Somebody thinks I'm gay. That's weakness. That's unconfidence. Now I get it all the damn time. Oh, you're a good looking bear. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. It's just a fucking compliment. And I'm not scared. I know who I am. I know what I am. Why did they spend $250 million on transgender attacks? Because they're scared and weak. They never progress past that young, immature weakness. It works for them. And you recognize it in your own people. There are people in your own family. There are people in my family. And it's not okay. It's not okay what you did. And if you say it's okay, you're projecting weakness. Folks, I took a lot of hell once, way back in the day, when I first started this whole journey. Because I am like I am now. I would just speak what I know to be true. And there was a discussion about democracy and why democracy was the best form of government anywhere. And I said, you know what? Democracy is great because it has this whole feature that we can fight something out. And then when it's over, we don't have to kill each other because there'll be another election. That's a great thing about democracy. But it's not the best form of government. It's not. Because democracy means compromise and nobody gets exactly what they want. And that's not really good because there are real answers and real solutions to problems, and they can be unpopular. The best form of government is to have an altruistic, decent monarch. And I said that. And good Lord, you would have thought that I just praised the Antichrist and everything. The hate I got for saying that. I didn't say, I said, look, it really is. If you're just talking about a functioning government, it's the way it is. Now, is it the best case scenario for everything? No, because, if you got this great monarch and he's a wonderful human being, there's no guarantee his kid is. And in fact, a lot of times, that whole expression, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, is true about a lot of things, but greatness and decency will skip generations. It does. And if you've got a monarchy, well, if the kid that's going to take the control is a piece of shit, man, you got to kill him. You got to kill him. And a lot of people die, and it's violent and it's ugly. Yeah, that's not a good thing. Violence is bad, people. So that's why we embraced democracy, because we knew we were cerebral enough to understand, you know what, we're not going to get everything. Every solution isn't going to be really perfect because we're going to have to compromise with people that are not working for the best solution. But then there's this Achilles heel, and there's a reason democracies only last about 200 years. Because if the pendulum ever swings too far, it ends. And that's what just happened, folks. It really did just happen. It wasn't hyperbole when we said, look, you got to vote or this is it. Too many people out there, there are interviews they're doing with illegal immigrants that are saying, you know what? I'm not a criminal. They're talking about just the criminals, just the bad ones. They're just people doing bad things. I never do bad things. I just work. They don't mean me. So I voted, I supported people. They didn't vote, but they supported Trump. I'm mistaken. They did not vote. They're saying that they supported Trump. And they convinced their family members who are here legally to go vote for Trump. Talking to literal illegal immigrants that are here working, trying to live the American dream. The people that we were fighting for to say, look, if they're good and decent people, let's get them a path to citizenship. Those people that we were fighting for, they told us, fuck you. They did. They did. And you know why they say they do it? They did it because they believe the economy would be better under Trump. And they wouldn't be deported. They just wouldn't. They're really saying this, folks. They're really saying this. And why do they believe it? Because the Republicans never got off a war footing. And it doesn't matter that I can show you, because you're liberals. You need to see it. I have to do a show where I go through and I find the data and I bring it to you. I cannot tell you how many emails I get. I heard what you said, but I'm going to need you to show me where you got that data. And I'm like, look, dude, I showed you the headline. Go to frickin' Google, type in the headline, and read the fucking article. But that's liberals, man. That's the way we are. They are not. They don't question. They goose step along. And folks, that's how we got here. That's how we lost. And no, the answer isn't to compromise what's right. The answer is to show strength. Show strength. Insult your opponent. Make him an unacceptable option. And do not ever in your life say, I'm willing to work with Republicans. Well, then he's not unacceptable, is he? You didn't show strength. It's that simple. Stop it. For Christ's sake, reality's on our side. You've heard people say this before. Reality has a liberal bias. It does, because we are very cerebral. Things have to be proven. Things have to be real. So reality is actually on our side, folks. When I say we all do better when we all do better, that's not just a catchphrase. Yeah, it's just real. The economy is better when we are not attacking immigrants. We are an aging country. We cannot screw our way out of this. We can't. We just can't. And while I'm being blunt, I'm going to tell you folks, the ones that do actually, most of y'all are here for the free ride, and that's okay, because I want you here for the community. But those supporting the show, my mouth just got this demonetized. So yeah, open up your fucking wallets. This one's not going to get me paid shit from Google. The postmortems I am hearing are still Chris Hayes. People just didn't like Joe Biden. No, dumb people didn't like Joe Biden because dumb people were told by Republicans and you, the corporate media, because you sucked their ass, shit that wasn't true. And they never stopped. They never stopped. One of the best economies this country has ever known, literally leading the world. The best economy in the world. And your average dumb fucking stupid idiot piece of shit Republican voter thinks it's terrible. Thinks it's terrible. Why? They were told that over and over and over and over again. And folks, you want to tell you, if you do not believe me that strength matters more than anything, strength matters more than anything. Strength matters more than anything. Strength matters more than anything. I can't say it fucking enough. If you don't believe that's true, they got caught red fucking handed being paid by Russia to put misinformation out, and they were rewarded for it. And I've been begging. Folks, you know me. I've been to the White House. I've talked to the chief of staff. I have been around people, and I told every one of them the exact same thing. What the hell are you doing? What are you doing? They're paying their people, and they knew they were paying their people because the Republicans tried to pass a bill here in Texas that said people like me had to disclose who pays them. And everybody on my side was like, yeah, do that. Do that. And when they realized we weren't afraid of that because nobody's fucking paying us, except for you people, you patrons of the show, you're it. You're it. That's it. Nobody's paying us. When we said, do it, pass that damn law, they said, oh, no. And that law disappeared like a fart in the frickin' wind. Because they know the Billionaire Frat Boy Club is paying. They have hired, they've gone, Asia is ground zero. Indonesia especially is ground zero. I've shown you I've done pieces on click farms where they literally take phones, they demolish them, take the boards out of them, and they build servers of cell phones so that it appears that these are individuals holding cell phones speaking. And they run them now with AI programs that have been learning. They've been learning this whole time. To do what? To tell you that the greatest fucking economy in the world is failing. And they believed it. Why? Because the compact was clear. You're weak. You're scared. I'm going to tell you, you're great. You're wonderful. You're really strong. You're strong enough to be a bigot. Instead of the reality, which is you're weak, but you're a bigot because you're weak. You're a bigot because you fear the other. And you're stupid. You're too stupid to know that if we just do well for each other, if you've got a community that is suffering and not doing well, the answer isn't to throw a fuck ton of cops into that community to throw these people in goddamn jail, because you're just making that community worse off, not better off. All of that is cerebral, folks. It's real. It is correct. It is the right thing to do. Stop over fucking policing black communities, because I guarantee you, you can go out here in my neighborhood, out in the sticks, out in the fucking country. In the country, there are more goddamn meth heads out here per capita than I promise you there are crackheads in East LA. I promise you, the density is much higher. But there's no cops. There are no cops here. So they're not getting pulled over and getting abusively searched. And forgive me for not reading your I tried to read your comments when you donate, but I am on a roll here. Please forgive that. We'll get back to that, I promise you, but just not today. So, folks, it's not your ideas are wrong. That's another one that postmortem I've taken is liberals need to get over their ideas. No, we don't. We don't. We just got to stop being nice about them. We've got to stop being cerebral about them. You know, when I came to social media, it is not a joke. I have changed this community. I will go to my grave knowing that I have improved our community, because when I got here, they would say the most abusive, nasty shit to us all over social media. And the retort from our side was, well, let me tell you why you're wrong, and that our ideas are superior for this reason. And now, what do you say? Let me hear it. Let me hear it in the chat. This is a real exercise. I'm making you work for it. This is a real exercise. When somebody says you're a pedophile, what do you say? I'll give you a hint. It's 2 words. It's 2 words. You're close. You're close. That ain't it. It's fuck you. People follow strength, folks. People that aren't you follow strength. They do. That's why all my bios now say, I didn't vote for the rapist. That's why I'm making a shirt that says, I didn't vote for the rapist. And I'm going to walk around in the reddest red area you've ever fucking seen with my shirt that says, I didn't vote for the rapist. People follow strength. They do. The ones that aren't like us, that can't think things through, that don't have the same, and again, you know, I say this all the time. Please understand this point. I say this all the time. I do. Gay people are just who they are. Your sexuality is a physical construct of your mind. It is. You know, gay people ask this question all the time because people imply that somehow being gay was learned or something like, they say, oh yeah, when did you decide to be straight? What you find physically attractive is in here. It is literally a construct of your mind. White matter, the hypothalamus, it's who you are physically. Hating someone for existing just as who they are has got to be the stupidest damn thing I have ever heard. So don't hate these people that are not you, that do not have the same amount of gray matter that you do. Literally, you have a different brain than they do. We're not carbon copies. We are not. We are a massively diverse species. In fact, I think we're diverse enough that we need to start having a conversation that we may actually be 2 species. Don't hate them for it. Don't hate them for it. Not for that. Hate them for what they just did to our country. And that includes your fucking family. Hate them for what they just did to them. There's no excuse for it. It's indecent what they just did. Is it our fault? Yeah. It is. It is. It really is, folks. I'm sorry to tell you that. It is. And I tried. I really did try. I tried to tell everybody that would listen, anybody that would listen. We need to have a comparable, paid for social media presence of people that will push the messages in a unified way. The Republicans get a talking point, and it is immediately within minutes, literally under 15 minutes, uniformed and blown out there. Then we blow it out of the water with facts. Then the retort to our facts comes out in a uniform, lockstep message. What their people need to hear to ignore our facts. They have that now. They do. They have that right now. It was able to convince a majority of American voters that our economy is not good. And a guy that's bankrupted several companies is a obvious. I mean, you can look at Donald Trump and you know he's a cheat. He's a scumbag. You wouldn't trust him with your children. You wouldn't trust him around your wallet. You know he would steal from you. You know that. You can discern that because of the way your mind is built. They don't have that. They don't. So what do we do? Say, well, let's change our messaging. Let's not defend what we know to be good and right and true. That won't work with us. We'll fracture apart. We will. We will fracture apart. Just like the Gaza people. Just like the Gaza people. Fuck it, burn the boats. Why we're in them, burn the boats. That's the way they were. I mean, that was their whole, all the Gaza people out there, burn the fucking boats. Why we're in it. Why? Because, well, they don't know why. You can't not stand up for what we believe in, or we lose our coalition, and our coalition has to start. So no, we can't back off our messaging. We can't. That just makes us weaker. We have to be more militant. We have to be more attacking. We have to tell that, you know, and I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. I love my son. I do. I would die for my son. But I put up with so much shit out of his mouth because it's my son. He doesn't do it with me. I mean, I can't tell you how many times he looked at me and said, "That's retarded." But I sit there and I explain to him why we are correct and do the exact thing that I tell you we're doing wrong. And I do it because he's my son. When what I should be saying is, shut the fuck up. And don't talk to me until you pull your head out of your ass. Because I did him no favors. I lost him his country. So, this is where I turn the show over to you. I need you to understand this. You need to be more militant. You need to be more aggressive, not less. You need to be less forgiving, and you need to understand they're not us. They're not. Don't sit there with a troll online and try to have a conversation. The correct answer is fuck you. You're an idiot. Block. Show strength because it's what they respond to. Treat them like cattle. You know, when a bull gets uppity, you can't say, "Now, Mr. Bull, let me explain why you need to calm down and why, if you just stick your head in this gate, Yes, I'm going to clamp down on it, and you're going to be a bit afraid. But when you put this head in this gate, I'm going to give you this shot with this 12-inch needle, and it's going to make all the things that are making you really upset and feel bad better. No, I take a fucking whip out and I beat that fucking bull until he sticks his head in the fucking gate. Then I clamp it down and I cure his fucking disease. And then I turn him loose and I bring him a carrot. These people aren't much above cattle. They aren't. It's the way their brains are wired. It is. Stop being so goddamn nice. And never let me hear out of your mouth again, we need to work with Republicans. We need to reach across the aisle. No, folks, they just won an election with the biggest piece of shit candidate you've ever seen. He is physically unappealing. He is repugnant to look at. He's impossible to listen to. He stinks like shit because he craps on himself. He's feeble and old, and they won. They won with that. Imagine what they'll do with the system they've set up with somebody that's actually fucking appealing. So please know, the fight's not at the ballot box anymore. That's over, folks. That is. They have no fealty. They have no fealty to the Constitution or democracy. They don't. And they have all the levers of power. They're going to cheat wholesale. The reason they kept saying they were going to cheat, and yes, I do believe they cheated. I do. Not enough to sway the election. No, they didn't cheat enough to sway the election. But did they cheat? Yeah, they did. And they cheated because they told their people over and over and over again that we were cheating. Do you know why they got that message? The predominant number one reason they got the message over and over and over again that we were cheating is to make it okay for them to cheat. Every one of these Republican bastards that we catch cheating say the same thing. Well, they were cheating. Yeah. I love you, folks. Let's hear it. All you. What do you got to say? Where are you at? Let me start off the round table with throwing this question out there. Mrs. Texas Paul and I react to instability by hunkering down. That's what we do. We double down on being tight. That's what we do. We've always lived well beneath our means so that we could get to, I got a nice house, folks. I do. This is our retirement home. It's a nice house. It is a nice place. We built this, we sacrificed, we lived beneath our means our entire lives to be able to do this. But whenever trouble comes, the first thing we do is we close our wallet. And Mrs. Texas Paul's car is about 5 years old. Again, we don't do a new car every 2 years like a lot of people around here do. I see people bitching about, again, just to show you how cognitively broken they are. There are people around here with $1,200 truck payments driving lifted pickup trucks because they don't haul anything. Let that soak in. They buy a pickup truck, which is by design. I got a truck. I do. There's nothing modified on it. It hauls what I need it to haul. And I don't drive it. It is an incredibly low mileage vehicle because it only drives when it's working because it gets shitty gas mileage. But I got to have it to do the things I do on my property. When I need it, I've got to have it. These financially illiterate motherfuckers go out and they buy pickup trucks when they don't haul anything but groceries. They pay, pickups have huge margins, not because they cost a lot to make. No, they have margins, huge margins, profit margins, because they charge exorbitant amounts for them. They could literally go buy for half the price a nicer SUV that would serve their purposes better, but they go buy a pickup because, you know, man, you got to have your lifted truck with your custom wheels that totally destroy your truck's inability to haul anything because you just destroyed the suspension to lift it up to get your wheels. And that same ignorant bastard will make fun of somebody with a lowrider. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. That guy will sit there and bitch about $3 eggs, vote his own country away. Will sit there in a job. I can't tell you how many times I've had this exact conversation with my own son. He's like, well, I don't like, like talking about transgender people. I wish they just keep it out of my face. When we're standing by a barn in a field where there not only are there no transgender people within driving distance, there are no humans at all around us. We're us, that's it. Standing in the middle of a frickin' field talking about in my face. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't. You just got to tell somebody that's got that kind of mind to be scared of something and that you're better because you're mean to them and you're scared. Notice my message isn't that you're better because you're a real dick to them. That's not why I'm saying that. I'm saying you be a dick to them because it works. It projects strength. I'm not saying that makes you better. No, I'm saying you're better because you're smarter and you can understand complex subjects and you know things that aren't simple. You know they are the right thing to do. You can reason through it. Therefore, don't compromise. Don't compromise. Project strength and fucking do it. But where I was going with this is we hunker down when something like this happened. We were going to go replace my wife's car. We were going to do that. And we decided not to. I'm getting a lot of people that are very financially savvy saying, no, do it now. Do it immediately. Tariffs are coming. Any large purchase you need to make it now before the tariffs come. Which I have to admit makes a lot of sense, but it goes against what I instinctively do, which is, again, I go buy rice, I go buy beans, I go buy flour, I stock up on toilet paper, and I hunker down and prepare. I don't buy anything expensive because I want to have cash to do what I need to do. If I got to leave this damn country, I'm going to have cash to do it. Where are you at? What are you doing to deal with? Because there's an economic crash coming, folks. This isn't debatable. It's every time. Last 6 administrations, going to be on 7 administrations. Democrats created 96% of the jobs. We have had the only economies that actually work. Every time the Republicans, especially this Republican, gets into office, they destroy the economy. What are you doing personally to prepare? And Ada says, going to make several phone calls next week about our country. Good for you. I'm looking for the comment. I didn't see it. There you go. Neo says prices will go up. Stock market will go down. Businesses, that's not just hyperbole. Businesses, people that are in the know. Businesses are buying overseas products as fast as they possibly can, and they're paying warehousing fees. Businesses don't do that willy-nilly because warehousing costs money. So not only are you going to see the tariff fee, they can't lose money. They can't. If they lose money, they die. That's what businesses have to make a profit. Or they don't exist. So they're going to pass that tariff on to you, but then all the warehousing fees involved now in their product are also going to be above and beyond the tariff. So yeah, it's not a matter of question. Prices are going to skyrocket. The economy is going to tank. We know that. What do we do now? What are you doing? We're a community. We're a community. You always need to remember that. And when you're sitting here in the live chat talking with people, we are a community. I am, yeah. Lynette, I am. Oh yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I will be in the reddest part of Texas, and I am not going anywhere. Fuck them people. When Trump burns down the economy and tariffs and deportations, I'll be here till they throw me in the gulag. When Trump burns down the economy with tariffs and deportations, we'll see how people will react. Yes. Thank you, Metal Mark. Yes, exactly. People are like, whoa, we need to prepare for the next election. No, we don't. We need to fight this on the streets, project strength, because when that reality hits and the economy goes south, we need to be in your face saying, I told you so. They screwed you. And say it loudly and say it mean so that they know that you have strength. Mass deportation will be coming soon. We'll see it all. There's something hilarious I wanted to share with you. Thank you, Sela, for bringing that up. There's something freaking hilarious happening. Trump is chaos, right? This is never a smooth, well-oiled machine because they have opposing interests. You know, you got the uber rich that funded the whole 2025 project, right? And oh, by the way, Bernie Marcus died. Woohoo! The founder of Home Depot, dead as a doornail, gone. Yay. Yes, I celebrated the death of someone. Yay. But you have the uber rich bros that were like, well, we're really good with going along with Putin's plan and talking about this whole deportation thing. But we don't really want to do that. That's going to make us go broke. I mean, what's the point of having tax cuts if you ain't making no money? That group has gotten to Greg Abbott. And Greg Abbott gave a speech yesterday. He's like, yeah, we're totally building a facility down here, but you got to be patient because it's a process. It's a process. We're going to get them violent criminals first. You know, we're going to focus on that. Remember, they're holding the signs, mass deportation now. Yeah, that's what the bigots want. They ain't getting it. The way it's going to work, and you write this down so you can come back and you can tell me, damn, Paul, you were right. The way it's going to work is they're going to try to do a for-show deportation, and it'll be people that need to be the hell out of this country. It is. It'll be criminals. Everybody they bust, they're going to streamline it. But no, it's not going to be, I mean, there you go, right there. Jeff, here you go. Gosh, I love talking to you people. You understand. Joe Destiny. It's too damn expensive. It's like $100 billion to just do the deportation. But deportation, before you talk about the absolute nuclear bomb that happens in the economy from doing it, that's just the cost. The physical cost of making it happen is almost $100 billion. So yeah, the mass deportations, they're really trying to put that shit back in the horse. They are. They're trying to say, we're going to do it. That damn Biden and Kamala, they always say, instead of Kamala Harris, they let all them illegals in. We're going to find the bad ones. We're going to start. It's a process. It's a process. Now, mind you, I know we said we're going to mass deport all them brown people you don't like, but it's a process. And you got Steve Miller, Steve Bannon, all of those white supremacists that are right next to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is a racist son of a bitch. And they're going to have a civil war. It's going to be chaos. And I don't mean a shooting civil war. I mean within their own ranks, they're going to have a civil war. They are. Because, man, there's a huge portion of them that really, really want to do it. And then you got the money people saying, no, man, no. And I told you, they think they can control them. They cannot. They cannot. Leonard Campbell, exactly. Now, a lot of people scoffed at what I said when I talked about Gandhi. The first thing he did was taught his people to be self-sufficient. Do that. Do that. When things get bad, it'll be a lot worse if you're hungry. Sounds silly. Man, that Texas Paul said what I ought to do to fight this fascism is grow a garden. No, that's not what I said. Not what I said at all. We're going to fight our asses off. We are. I will be here like a fucking blowtorch that they put me in the gulag. I will be calling out their shit and I will be directing you as best I can until they throw me in the fucking gulag. But I'm going to grow me some tomatoes next spring to make sure I got fresh tomatoes. You do the same. Do the same. Political Musings with Amy Manuel. Help. My son is getting married tomorrow, so I have to see my MAGA sister with a PhD in neurobiology tonight at the rehearsal. She's anti-immigrant. What do? I don't know. Tell her, fuck you. My advice. Susie Wiles. What's my take on Susie Wiles? It just confirms what I was telling you. What she's saying here is the campaign chair, Trump's campaign chair, Susie Wiles, has been tapped as chief of staff. They're never getting off a campaign footing. This isn't about functioning. This isn't about a functioning government. You know, we Democrats always do that. Well, the election's over now. It's time to get to work. The Republicans stopped doing that like a decade ago. They just stopped. They never have gotten off a campaign footing. That's what it means. Donald Trump has named his campaign chair his chief of staff, which means the campaign is never going to end. Ever. So yeah, it's going to be a disaster. They're not going to govern, and an ungoverned country dies. I mean, it just does. Thank you. How you feeling, folks? How you feeling? I don't know about you, but I'm not scared. I'm mad. I'm fucking pissed. But I'm not stupid. I'm not. I am not going to listen to all this. I want you to do this. Oh, by the way, an announcement. Into business today. You know how I play a lot of clips off of Shitter? No more. Into business today. My X account is gone. It will not exist anymore. There will never be a bit of content posted to that. Ever. I've opened a Blue Sky account. This happened. And later on, after I get this, I'm gonna invest some time and energy. Hey, what do you know? Overnight, last night, about 10 o'clock, this account went live. I got 2,600 followers already. Yay. and I haven't even gotten to work yet. Fantastic. This is my Blue Sky account. Twitter is history. No more. No more Elon Musk. No more giving him content for free where he can put his freaks out there. No, not going to happen. Not going to happen. There are other venues. And I'm available on Threads. I'm available on Instagram, here on YouTube, of course. Oh, yeah, that is something else. This blows my mind. Why haven't you subscribed? We're in a freaking war here for our souls. Why haven't you just, it costs you nothing. It's free. Everybody that complains, well, I can't support the show and this and that, well, that's okay. I just want you here. You can hit the subscribe button. You can do that. It costs you nothing. Literally does not gum up your YouTube feed or anything. All it does is it puts me down there on the bottom of your YouTube screen. That's it. You've got subscribed accounts. I'll be in that group. For God's sakes, why haven't you subscribed? It's huge for me. It's huge for me. It helps me in the algorithm. Hit the thumbs up button when you're watching a show. It brings more people into the audience. You'll notice we had almost 4,000 people. Since the election, our audience has grown 25% because people are ready to fight. And I'm not telling people, well, it was stolen from you. And I'm not telling people, that, oh, well, we need to rethink our strategy. And I'm not telling people any of the stupid bullshit takes that I'm hearing. Blue Sky. Are you familiar with what Twitter was? Now it's X. Are you familiar with what Threads is? Blue Sky is another platform like that. It's bluesky.com. A lot of people really like it because it's very similar in format to Twitter. Spoutable is another one. Hey, this is a fight. I'm going to increase my reach as far as possible. I am going to be on Spoutable. I am. And that's something you can do. I am. I have promoted other people I do it all the time. I promote people all the time. One of my, I just do. Now I'm going to promote myself. You need to get people in our community, in that live chat, discussing what we're discussing, because that momentum matters. It really matters. It really, really matters. Blue Sky is free, yes. Just like every other platform, it's free. You just sign up and it's free. It's really easy too. We can. Vish, thank you for this comment. Thank you for bringing this up on the roundtable. We can. We can. You know why? So we had a shit election. Yeah. So they're going to gut our institutions. Yeah. So our country as we know it is over. Yeah, it is. No elections for a while that are actual real elections. Yeah. But you know what? You're still you. I'm still me. They still need you to show up to work. They do. They need you to show up to work. They won't come after you. They'll come after me. They'll come after me. I'm the hub. I'm the nexus for information. I'm the motivator. They'll come after me. Coming after you makes no sense. They need you. My nurses, my doctors, my lawyers, my truck drivers, my construction workers, waiters, waitresses, whatever. They need you to keep doing what you're doing. They're not going to come after you. They're not. They aren't. So yeah, worst case scenario, you're going to endure a more shitty country with fewer services. By the way, my governor is elated because now churches are now in the government revenue stream. They now have the votes to do vouchers, to take money directly out of our schools that they get in part from the federal government, and they're going to hand it to churches to run schools. And those schools always suck. They always fail. And all they are is recruitment centers for Republicans. That's it. That's all those schools ever are. But yeah, they're going to do that. But you're going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. It's going to suck. We're going to have to fight to change it. But you're going to be okay. Because you're still you. I'm still me. Go outside. The air is still there. It's going to get dirtier. It's going to get uglier. Weather's going to get worse. But there will still be air out there. You can touch the grass. The sun will still come up. But we got a hell of a fight ahead of us. And I'm telling you, it'll be a decade minimum. Before we have another free and fair election in this country, it'll be a decade. And I hope to God I'm wrong. Let me tell you something I saw today. I wasn't going to talk about this. Just in case you weren't scared enough. Your institutions will not protect you. Your institutions will not protect you. What's going to happen is they're going to fail. They always do. Republicans always do. Because you see it. They're staying in campaign mode. They're not going to governing. You just canceled expensive Hulu package to basic, sending you the different. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you very much, Colleen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for helping me fight. I appreciate you. I'm doing the same thing. I'm getting rid of I've got Paramount, and I don't watch any. I watch Tulsa Kings, the only damn thing I watch on it. So I'm getting rid of Paramount. Yeah, everybody I know is cutting back. Everybody. And I lost track of what I was about to say. Sorry. It was important too. My brain blinks out too. I am just like you. I do. My brain will lock up sometimes. And that just happened. I just completely lost my train of thought. I love you folks, and I mean this with all of my heart. I have to go into that shit so that I know what the hell they're going to do. And I can understand their strategy so that I can give you good strategy. And it sucks. You know what it's like talking to those people and listening to those people. It sucks. Being able to come here and just spend time with people that have the same type of brains. Thank you. Y'all reminded me. Pentagon. Your institutions would thank you. I'm back on track. Thank you. I love you people. Yeah, no kidding, right? Oh, look, a squirrel. I love you people so much. I do. I'm not even kidding. That's in the comments. Squirrel. Seriously, though, the Pentagon, they're not going to resist this. The DOJ, the FBI, none of them. They're not going to resist this. None of them. These people have a fealty to a normalcy that no longer exists, and they're unprepared. So what's going to happen is this. Republicans are going to fail. They are. They've never been able to govern. They're going to fail. And even worse, they're even more, because it's paid off for them electorally, they're going to stay on this campaign footing, which means they're going to stay on the attack, which means they're not going to do the basics of governing. And they're going to put a lot of incompetent people in charge of a lot of very important agencies, and those agencies are going to fail. Those departments are going to fail. When they fail, neither their voters nor themselves have the mental wherewithal to self-evaluate and critically understand why they fail. because they are low humans of a different species, they're going to point and they're going to say, aha, they're why we fail. And they're going to turn these institutions loose. My gay brothers and sisters, you need to be aware. My minority brothers and sisters, you need to be aware. My Jewish brothers and sisters, you need to be aware. When it starts to happen, it will happen quickly. It will happen violently. And you need to not be trying to formulate a plan when you're heartbroken and afraid. Sorry. You need that plan in place ahead of time. You got a little time. You do. This isn't going to happen tomorrow. It's not even going to happen over the next few months. But 9 months from now, a year from now, yeah, the first disaster will hit. Folks, one of the things I edited out of the show is there's an update on bird flu. It looks like it's fully mutated into a strain that will infect humans. Yeah. And this fucking orange clown is going to be running the government. When they fail, remember, when they failed with COVID last time, what did they do? Did they self-evaluate and say, you know what, maybe we should have, did they do what we did where they said, you know, we should have a playbook, we should have a plan? No, they said, you know, he didn't get them vaccinations out, not because Trump's a failure, not because I messed up and voted for a guy that's a failure. Vaccinations are bad. Oh, screw you and your liberal mask. The guy I voted for can't get us masks, can't get us PPE. So I didn't do nothing wrong. My guy's not bad. No, you're stupid liberal masks. That's the kind of shit that's going to happen. But they're going to get to where they're pointing at people. They're going to get to where they're pointing at people. This is what terrifies me right here. You want to know what keeps me up at night about the future? It's this right here. Look, I really could see in the future not only us, because Putin owns Trump. He owns him lock, stock, and barrel. I could see U.S. weaponry in Russian hands. Really. And I wasn't joking about Poland or Moldova or any of the countries around there. Those people are like, fuck you. We just had an election. Elections have consequences, sometimes dire consequences. They just voted for a land war in Europe. They did. And again, this is for another show. There's a whole thing on it. Germany, the government in Germany just collapsed. Yeah. Scholz is out. He's trying for dear life to hold on. Our Canadian friends, Pierre, you got Justin Trudeau polling 20 points down. Folks, this is how it happens. If you study history, you understand this is really how these wars break out. It'll start out with appeasement. You'll get these right wingers that think that they can make a deal, and this will blow up, and Europe will be on fire. It may take 2 years. It may take 4 years. But this is going to be a land war in Europe. I promise you. That is one of the results of this election. Well, folks, I love you. I've taken up enough time. We've gone an hour and a half. Thank you for being here. Thank you for putting up with my screen. Thank you for supporting the show. It's your job. If we're going to fight this, then fight it. If you're not out there doing what I'm doing, bring people into the flock, and let's do this. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.